on behalf of the chairman of INEC, of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner, and he is returned elected.
Osun State, after the results were announced, after the Independent National Electoral Commission declared Senator Ademola Adeleke the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), the winner of Osun State governorship election. Adeleke beat his closest rival, Governor Gboyega, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress and incumbent governor, to emerge winner. The election was held across the 30 local government areas of the state amid tight security, with political parties adopting new methods of vote buying. Also witnessed huge turnout of voters as the electorate trooped out en masse to cast their votes.
Whereas the Osun State chapter of the PDP claimed victory in the election, the ruling APC seems to be unsettled with the results, saying it is still studying the outcome of the polls and will in due time make a stance. Now let's bring in our correspondent, Benard Akede, who monitored the election for us on Saturday. Good morning, Benard. Thanks for, of course, all the work that had to be done over the weekend. You were on ground in Osun State. Let's talk about the entire process. How was it for you and, of course, for the people of Osun State?
Good morning, Olive and Osarogie. I think the Osun State elections were quite an experience, I must confess. Not the first time I'm covering elections, but this one was quite interesting. 4 years ago, I was in Osun State as well, and what we saw this year was a whole lot different from what we saw last year. I think generally, first of all, where do I begin? Like I said, it's a whole interesting experience. People coming out to vote, voters getting registered, accredited, security, everything. But of all, I think, first of all, we should give kudos to INEC for proper organization. We're seeing improvements from one election to the other. At least there are some improvements from what happened in Ekiti State last month, exactly a month ago. Also, kudos to the security operatives, officers and men of the Nigerian police force, combining their strength with the Nigerian Army, Civil Defense Corps, road safety, Amotekun as well, also on ground, and all other security operatives that were there. And then, the coordinated procedure, coordinated voting of the people of Osun State as well. That also helped matters. Of course, there's still work to be done, like one of the observers did say in the video that was played earlier. Nigerians, not just INEC, also have work to be done when it comes to voter registration and voter participation. But one thing I would also like to credit before I end this is the fact that there was a good participation from the elderly. We could see a good number of elderly persons coming out to vote. And based on what INEC stated, that preference should be given to the elderly people first, allow them vote, and then people living with disabilities, and then pregnant women and nursing mothers before the other voters came to cast their vote. So that's pretty much a short overview of what went on during the elections.
That's very exciting. I'm excited to hear about the inclusion. We did see some photos online of some really old people that were going to vote, and I stumbled on an interview one of them granted, saying they'd been voting for years. So no excuse for the younger generation, really. There were conversations, of course, of vote buying, which we did see in Ekiti. How rampant or scarce was this in the Osun elections?
Well, personally, I didn't see physical vote buying, but there were certain things to suggest that this did happen. Some videos went online. Eventually, one person apparently was apprehended, and I don't know if you saw that video where
yes, I did.
A gentleman was in a vehicle and was being taken away. From different polling units, I could see officers of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, going from place to place. And there were places where they actually stopped, and it looked like they were doing some kind of raid. Maybe they got some kind of information over there. But one thing I also said on the news yesterday morning at 9 was that vote trading now, to talking about buying and selling, the activities of people who engage in these acts have actually improved. So rather than just give physical cash, it appeared that some people may have been doing some kind of bank transfers, maybe on their phones, or getting ways to identify people who did vote and then what's the word now? Pay them some kinds of money. Again, we didn't have any physical evidence that we caught on camera, but we did get some people who stated that these things did happen in certain places. So I can't verify just by word of mouth. But like I said yesterday, there's nothing to say that it did happen, and there's nothing to say that it didn't happen. But based on the fact that we saw videos on social media, then we can hold on to some claim.
Well, good thing, the people of Osun have spoken. We're looking forward to seeing what the next couple of days brings. The APC, of course, chairman is saying that he hasn't heard of any, declaration of the PDP as winner and some of all of that. So there might be some drama unfolding in the next couple of days. Must be really, really shocking for Governor, maybe not even shocking for Governor Etola, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much, Benard, and thanks for the work that you did.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're still talking about the Osun Gubernatorial elections, and this morning we have joining us architect Ezekiel Nya-Etok, who's a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Nya-Etok.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, so quickly, let's start with, talking about your assessment of the elections in Osun State. For a lot of people who, I had also spoken with before the election, they said, it wasn't going to be shocking for Governor Etola to lose that election because the people of Osun State may not have been very, very happy with his performance so far. So did you see that as, shocking, seeing how it turned out?
In a sense, yes, I would say it was shocking, but a pleasant surprise. But beyond what the details might be, I look at the bigger picture, and I'm really impressed, and my faith is getting pumped up on our electoral system and process. What we do going forward is realizing that being an incumbent is not good enough. You need to know how you are going to network with your people. You need to know what the desires and the expectations are. You need to know that the elections will, or your vote, the vote of the electorate will count. When you are aware of these, either as an incumbent or one who is hoping to get elected, you now be able to plan your strategies differently. I've been involved in elections before, not only as a participant, but one who has been involved with the system when I was with PDP for a while. And we know what it means to plan for an election. And I think that those dynamics are changing, fast changing. So in the specifics of Osun State, I think that the incumbent governor took too many things for granted. And as a result, he's paying dearly for it.
And are we quite excited about the governor-elect? He did serve a term, he did serve as senator before. Are we quite excited about his performance? We're seeing that a lot of people have thrown their votes behind him, as well as his nephew, who campaigned heavily for him. Do you think that it's something to be excited about?
I don't think it's something to be excited about. I rather think that it's something for us to learn a lot of lessons from. You see, the sitting down to analyze this sort of election takes more than just the short bites. We need to go to certain fundamentals, certain basics, certain rudiments for us to really place ourselves where we ought to be. For instance, who are the decision makers? What is the office of the governor? Who should really be the decision maker? We talk of, I was on a different platform. In fact, I've been on several platforms in the past 2 days, looking at this Osun election. Question number one is, to what extent do the decision makers understand the import of the office of the governor? Very important. Number two, what is the motivation for those who go to vote? To what extent does that motivation tally with the larger interest and the essence of the process? These are things that we, the elite, must interrogate. I give you a very little illustration that I used. Imagine that you have, just take a normal aircraft and, people are about to board and you have about 200 people there. You have the traders, you have all sorts of people, that the aircraft can even be elitist because of the sort of people that go to the airport, But assuming that in your constituency, 2 people are to pilot an aircraft, good, that's better. And one man comes with his flowing agbada, he tells them, look, in this aircraft, we have two sections. One for the rich, the business class. They serve them food, they serve them everything. The other one, they call it for the masses. Why should that be? Let everybody come in, we'll serve everybody food and blah, blah, blah. You and I know that that's not sustainable. And then the second person comes, a pilot. He says, no, that's not sustainable. In aviation, there's what we call cut and fill. You know, we take from the rich to subsidize the poor, and that makes it sustainable and everything. At the end of the day, there's supposed to be a vote. Who do you think is going to be voted to be the pilot? It's the man who says, forget this nonsense. All these rich people, they are deceiving you. Come inside. Everybody will be given food and everything. Everybody will be in business class. Whereas the man who tells you this is not sustainable, he will crash. He will not go anywhere except in a certain climb where you have people who understand and they're like, man, get out of here. What are you talking? You're talking nonsense. Pilot, please, let's go. Those who can afford business class pay. Those of us that cannot, let's go economy. Now, who decides who is going to be your next governor and why? Two sets of people. One, the local people who have been so impoverished, for them, they don't understand what it is. Government is government. They'll just come and they'll go, is their thing. And what you get, you get what you can while you can. So if they're even able to make 500 naira, that's it. So for them, the game is, the deal is done. And secondly, the old people who are bored, staying at home all the time, this is an excitement time that they go out to get something doing and even get something in return. Now, therein is where the problem lies. We cannot allow the decision of who pilot our aircraft to be taken by those who have no idea. Right. That is why I tell all of us that speak grammar, please go out and get your PVC. And secondly, enlighten your people so that they take an informed decision so that Nigeria will lose that ignoble tag of
Mr. Ezekiel, are you casting
yes.
aspersions on the character of the presidential candidate for the APC? Or rather for the
presidential candidate? I have nothing to, I don't think I've said anything about presidential candidate. Where did that come from?
I beg your pardon, sorry. Are you casting aspersions on the governor-elect, on the quality of the character of the governor-elect?
No, I made a sweeping statement or a general statement in whatever, not, it wasn't specific, you know? It's for Osun people to know what I've said. If their governor-elect fits the bill, then they've taken a good decision. But if it does not fit the bill, sorry, they are in for 4 years that they have to deal with the consequences. I believe in the 3 C's. The chances that come your way, the choices that you make, and the consequences. All right. The chance, the choice, the consequence.
Mr. Nya-Etok, I want us, you just spoke about getting your PVC, apologies. You just spoke about getting PVCs and all of that. So I want us to, also get your thoughts on the Labour Party faithfuls, and those who, maybe had expected that the Labour Party would do, similarly well enough. If you've been following the new wave of, PVC registrations and a new wave of Labour Party, would you say that, it is disappointing for the Labour Party seeing that they didn't get that many votes? Or was this always expected to turn out this way?
No. You see, we need to understand the ideology, the philosophy, the mindset of the new wave. Their mindset is person, not party. They are not excited about Labour Party as a party. No, they are not. They are excited about a person called Mr. Peter Obi. That is why in some places they will tell you that in Akwa Ibom they are going to go for a man called Ezekiel Nya-Etok because they believe in the person. In Abia they are going to go for Mr. X. In this India, so they are not. These are people who are not party faithfuls. So Labour Party, if they make that mistake of thinking that they are riding the crest of the moment, if they are not able to translate that crest by looking for people that have character, credibility, and competence, unless they are able to see the bigger picture, that this is not about party, it's about persons. If they do that, they can take advantage of, name recognition. Okay. But if they wallow in that self-delusion that it is Labour Party, it has nothing to do with Labour Party. So many PDP members are obedient. So many other people, you understand me, are all sorts of things, individuals. And it's not about party at all. But for now, yes.
Before this year, we have been talking about the fact, there have been conversations about the fact that it is political parties that win elections. We've heard that thrown around all the time. Are we saying that the game is going to be different in 2023, that it would no longer be a game of political party winning elections, but the person winning the elections?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. I am aware of some people in my party. I just listened to a conversation and they were talking about a particular candidate in a different party, you know, and for House of Assembly. Luckily for them, we didn't field a candidate in that particular area. So I was telling them, don't you think this is anti-party? They said, sir, we are members of our party, so we will vote for a party. This other person is not a member of our party. He is just somebody who believes in you and wants to vote you. So he's trying to convince us that in this particular area, this candidate has done so well and that they should support the candidate. No, the mindset right now is that people are picking and choosing. And let me tell you something. APC and PDP members combined make up less than 40% of the voting population or thereabout. Over half the voting population are non-partisan. They don't belong to any party. They just pick individuals. So if in the past, these people didn't bother about voting, that's why the results always went the way of the big parties, because they knew that election results will not count. But right now, the big parties are the biggest people in problem because number one, they are going to take a lot of things for granted. And number two, they are going to have the rudest shock of their lives because they will have such abysmal performances that they will never believe what's going on.
All right, Mr.
What's
Nya-Etok.
happening in Osun State is not a vote for them. It's a vote for a process. And that has emboldened this other over 50% of the people that didn't used to go and vote. They are now going to vote and they'll vote person and not party.
All right. Mr. Ezekiel Nya-Etok, we always enjoy speaking with you. We'd like to bring you in again sometime, hopefully before the end of the week, to discuss on other details concerning the Osun State elections. But thank you so much for your time and see you again very soon.
It's always a pleasure and I'm really honored. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.